In Manhattan, former President Donald Trump weighed in on the speaker battle today, but he did not endorse a McCarthy successor.
A lot of people have been calling me about Speaker. All I can say is we'll do whatever is best for the country and for the Republican Party.
He was speaking to reporters at the courthouse where the civil trial accusing him of fraud is underway. That trial has become a vehicle for the former president and frontrunner for the GOP nomination to amplify violent rhetoric against his perceived enemies, from judges to legal clerks and the attorney general. White House correspondent Laura Barone-Lopez has been following the developments and joins me here. Laura, good to see you.
Good to be here.
So the judge in this New York case is Arthur Engoron. He imposed a gag order on Mr. Trump yesterday. Why? What led to that?
So Judge Engoron imposed this gag order very quickly on Trump, saying that he can't make comments about court staff. And this came hours after former President Trump attacked that judge's principal law clerk on social media, on Truth Social. Trump baselessly accused the law clerk of having a relationship with Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, and also said that this law clerk is running the case against me. This should be dismissed immediately. And this is clearly a pattern from the former president, where he is directly attacking any officials that are involved in these cases against him.
You've reported on this other pattern before. We were seeing former President Trump directing some of his most derogatory attacks against officials of color. Are we seeing that same pattern again?
We are, Amna. He did it just this week again when he was in New York City, directly attacking New York Attorney General Letitia James when he was there for this civil fraud trial. And here's what he had to say about James.
We have a racist attorney general who's a horror show. This is a disgrace, and you're to go after this attorney general because she's turning off everybody from coming in.
Again, Amna, that's a pattern from the former president, specifically when he talks about black jurists, black judges, black prosecutors. He uses words like racist, animals, rabid, thugs.
So these are just a few recent examples. I know you've been tracking and some of the rhetoric we've seen from former President Trump. You've been tracking many more before that, though. Tell us about that.
Violent rhetoric, again, is a feature, not a bug, of Trump's campaigning style. It goes back to 2016, Amna, when he used to use a lot of violent rhetoric during his campaign. But recently, there has been, over the course of the last 2 weeks, an increase. And so if we break it down, on September 22nd, Trump suggests that General Mark Milley, the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs, should be executed. September 29th, he mocks the assault on Paul Pelosi. That was a violent political attack. September 29th as well, in that same speech, calls for shoplifters to be shot on sight. You'll remember he said in 2020, when the looting starts, the shooting starts. And then on October 3rd, he said, which was just yesterday, Amna, when speaking to right-wing media, he said migrants are, quote, poisoning the blood of our country. Now, I checked with a historian, Ruth Ben-Ghiat, and she said that that language that he's using, talking about migrants, Amna, echoes language used in Nazi propaganda by Adolf Hitler, when Adolf Hitler actually said that Jewish people and migrants were, quote, causing a blood poisoning, end quote, of Germany.
Laura, this is language we've seen before. It's often dismissed or categorized as brash and erratic, and over time, some, I think, become numb to it because it's what we've come to expect from former President Trump. When you talk to people who track this rhetoric and its impact, what do they tell you about why it matters?
All the experts I've talked to, Amna, in extremism and far-right extremism, as well as the historians, say that this rhetoric directly leads to violence. January 6th was, of course, was the largest event that we saw in terms of the former president's language inciting people to go to the Capitol and storm it. But they also point to other incidents, death threats against the black judge overseeing the January 6th federal case. Those death threats led to arrests, as well as the attack on the FBI Ohio office just last year, shortly after Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort was raided. So essentially, at the end of the day, all extremism experts that I talk to, Amna, say that this not only normalizes violent rhetoric, but it also encourages violence.
White House correspondent Laura Barone-Lopez joining us tonight. Laura, thank you.
Thank you.